arsenal is the jab, and that's what I work on. And we're working very hard for Sergey's jab to be finite. He's going to be jabbing up, down, around, outside the ring post, inside the ring post, wherever a jab could be landed, that's when he's going to throw it. And we're going to make sure that his defensive circle is at an all-time super sharp crispness. That's when he starts turning his angles, creating avenues that other people don't get, and that's how he's going to beat him. He's going to make him uncomfortable, and then he's going to take him to task.
Now, Triple G appears to enjoy being uncomfortable at times. So how do you break the will of this guy?
Well,
Besides using what you just said, the jab.
well, one thing is which is really important as we see. You have to back Triple G up, and he does not. I repeat, does not do well backing up. He hasn't changed that. It won't change. Even now with a new trainer who happens to be like family to me,
Jonathan Banks?
Jonathan Banks, and it is what it is. But we are going to angle him, back him up, circle him. It's going to be just like, not a great white shark, but like a hammerhead shark, working off angles. And that's how he's going to be victorious.
Okay.
In terms of what you said before, I'm sorry, man. In terms of what you said before, in terms of Sergey listening, and that's the reason he's going to be victorious. Is that something that was lacked in like the Curtis Stevens fights and the Daniel Jacobs fight? Communication between fighter and trainer.
Well, it's not a lack of communication because I expressed it through communication.
Right.
The lack of following the directive is a different issue. And when I say that, I mean, if I tell you double your jab, stay off the ropes, keep circling, if you don't do that, that means you're not listening. And if you don't listen, that means that we're not going to be victorious. As a trainer, I need my athletes to pay close attention to what I'm showing them and teaching them and telling them. So I don't think at this point in time with Sergey, because he always listens to everything I tell him, that we'll have a problem with that. If I tell him to stay off the ropes, you better believe he will not be on the ropes. I tell him to dictate policy from the middle of the ring, that's what he'll do. If I tell him to change directions and directives and levels, he'll do that also. This is why he's going to be victorious.
Where do you think Golovkin is as a fighter now compared to when he fought Curtis Stevens?
Well, he's gotten better. He's gotten better. The Golovkin that fought Curtis was, of course, a lot younger. But when he fought Curtis, he was always cautious in that fight because he knew that Curtis could punch. And I don't want to make a mistake. I know this kid can punch. He can hurt me too, as just as well as I can hurt him. And he boxed a very, very calculated and cautious fight. But he did it with aggression. And at no time did you ever see him wading into the waters. He just used his jab constantly, controlled the range, and took care of combinations when he had to. So that Golovkin has gotten better. A lot of people say, well, Golovkin has lost the step because he's not stopping people and he's not, quote unquote, winning. The thing is that his opponents have come to task. His opponents are better. Like if I'm racing and I'm racing the butcher and the baker and the candlestick maker, I'm running them off the track each and every time. But when I get a kid from UCLA that's broken 5 records, I'm going to have to be ready. When that gun fires, I have to be off the line. So he has met better opposition and elite opposition, and that's why things have been far more difficult for him. That in no way or sense means that he has lost the traction in being the fighter that he is, but the competition gets better. You have to rise with it or at least maintain your stance, and that's what's happened to Golovkin.
This is one in a series now, big fights where you've been in the corner. How has the big fight experience changed for you over the years, and how have your feelings about big fights like this evolved as you've gotten more used to them?
Well, my thing is that a lot of these big fights that we participate in, I participated with my creations. These are kids that I I on from the very beginning, and we had big fights in the amateurs or national tournaments, the Olympic trials, things of that nature. It's a foregone conclusion moving on that we're going to be in these arenas and at these events, and it's just like come to pass. I think I was actually born for it because I don't really get caught up in the ambiance of a big fight. It's not my thing. I just need to know that we are at the event, and I know what I need to do to guide my charge to victory.
And who were your mentors as a trainer?
Oh well, actually, uh, Joe Williams. He used to be a postal worker. He was my first trainer. Jimmy O'Farrell.
Any relation to Joe Williams that you're working with
No,
now? Okay.
no. Of course, Emmanuel Stewart. Um, Emmanuel Stewart was like an uncle to me. I'm like an uncle to everybody else, but he was like an uncle to me. And I remember we were in Canada, and it was a room full of everybody. There was some really great fighters and trainers there. And Emmanuel walked in the room. You know, that was almost like the training God walking in the room that time. And he walked in the room, and I was sitting in the corner with Danny. And he walked over to me and said, "Hey, Andre." I said, "What's up, Uncle Manny?" He said, "How you doing? This is my favorite young trainer." And everybody heard it, right? So the room was quiet, and I was like, "Yeah, it's me." Man, he said that about me. But Emmanuel Stewart and that's about it. Those are the guys that made me want to be the trainer that I am.
Do you going forward on fight? Sergey by stoppage or Sergey by win?
Well, like I told one reporter, when you get to the elite level, you don't see many stoppages. You see lots of entertaining rounds and
Good classic boxing.
good classic, articulate boxing. You can't make mistakes. And when guys are this good, they really don't make mistakes. But they maintain their balance, and you can't be careless either. So I think it'll be a decision is on the elite level as usual.
Do you think Sergey would still be an undefeated fighter had you been in his corner? Or maybe, like in retrospect, I know you can't go against Danny, or maybe go back to the cocaine fight where he didn't look as good as he used to. Do you still think he'd be an undefeated fighter with you as a set trainer?
Of course. Literally, of course.
Literally. So if
Yeah.
you were across Danny, Sergey would have won that.
Sergey would have won the fight
Because
because I would have been in his corner.
and would he have fought it differently?
He would have definitely fought it differently. And I mean, we got a great team, but the team has to be together. You know, that's that young man there, Sergey Kochinsky. He came here with a smile on his face, and he's young and energetic, and one of the best strength and fitness coaches coming up. And Gary Starks, of course, my big brother from another mother, you know, full of energy and zest, and you know, it's just a great team, and it was fragmented, and that's what made the difference. When we're all together, forget about it. So now we are together, and Sergey is going to be back to unstoppable. He had some of his best performances coming up when we were together, and I just said, you know, this when it all went, I never wanted the two of them to fight. I didn't want Danny and Sergey to fight. I told everybody that. I told little Sergey that. I told Sergey that. I said, "Why are you doing this to me? Why?" You know, I really, if I could have, I would have walked away from it. I really, because I didn't want to see my two guys. I mean, these were my two guys. But it was a moment that they had to take. It was a moment where a title was on the line. They were making a great deal of money, and it had to happen. So, naturally, I had to stand with Danny, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to be in either one of their corner for them fighting each other. And I said, I will never, ever have that happen again. Um, at this moment, I don't care. It won't happen again. It won't happen again. I'll always be with my team, and since that young man came into my life, he's been nothing but a joy. The entire crew, it's all just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And now that we're back together, we're going to take this one down the throat of the monster. And Sergey, the technician, not technician, let's get it right. You have to throw that accent at the end, technician. Derevyanchenko will be the IBF middleweight champion of the world.